Good morning, children. Welcome to the social science class. Hope you all are staying safe and good. Children, in today's class, we are going to start from the term 2, that is from History, Unit 5. The topic is Educational Development in India. I repeat, the topic is Educational Development in India. Learning objectives. To know the ancient system of education in India, to analyze the education in medieval and modern India, discuss the importance of national education policy, synopsis, introduction, education in ancient India, sources of learning, ancient education system in India, a way of life, role of teacher, modern system of education, education in the British rule, national policy on education, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, SSA, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, RMSA, and hard words. So these are the subtopics that we are going to see in this lesson. Introduction. Education is a continuous process of acquiring and sharing of knowledge, skills, and values. Education is recognized as the foundation of a progressive society. It plays a vital role in shaping responsible people. The world we live is constantly changing and developing. So, to meet the challenges and overcome the obstacles, we need to be well educated and to know the role of the education in human development process. First, let's see education in ancient India. The historical sources provide the information that from very early times the tradition of teaching and learning had been in vogue in India. The concept of education might have originated from the Vedas. The literal meaning, the Sanskrit word Veda, is mean knowledge, and the word derived from the word vid, that is vid, which means to know. Our ancient education system evolved over many centuries and focused on the holistic development of the individual by taking care of both the innate and latent capacity. It emphasizes on values such as humility, truthfulness, discipline, self-reliance, and respect for all creation. So that's all about the education in ancient India. And next, sources of learning. Children, you must have heard the names of Panini, Aryabhatta, Katyayana, and Patanjali. Am I right, children? Okay, so their writings and the medical treatise of Charaka and Sushruta were also some of the sources of learning. Various disciplines such as history, logic, interpretation, architecture, polity, agriculture, trade, commerce, animal husbandry, and archery were taught. And physical education too was an important curricular area, and students participated in games and recreational activities. And the gurus and their students worked constantly together to become proficient in all aspects of learning. In order to assess students' skills, literary debates were organized. Students at an advanced stage of learning guided younger students. A system of peer learning was also practiced, like you have group study, peer study. And next, ancient education system in India, a way of life. That is a Gurukula system. In ancient India, both formal and informal education existed. Indigenous education was imparted at home, in temples, patashalas, and gurukulas. And there were peoples in homes, villages, and temples who guided young children in imbibing pious way of life. Temples played a vital role in imparting education and served the centers of learning. Students went to viharas and universities for higher studies. And the family of Guru functioned as the monastic school or an ashram. During that period, the Gurus and their Shishyas, that the students, lived together, helping each other in day-to-day life. The main objective was to have complete learning, leading a disciplined life and realizing one's inner potential. Students lived away from their homes for years together till they achieved their goals. The Gurukula was also the place where the relationship between the Guru and student strengthened with time. And next, Vedas and universities, Buddhist period. Through monasteries and Vedas, Buddhist scholars carried out the educational work. As a result, many famous educational centers came into existence. Among the most notable universities that emerged during the period were situated at Taxila, Nalanda, Vallabhai, Vikramshila, Otanpuri, and Jagadalla. And next, role of teacher. Teachers had complete autonomy in all aspects from selections of students to designing their syllabi. When the teachers were satisfied with the performance of their students, the course concluded. He would admit as many students as he liked and taught what his students were keen to learn. Debate and discussions were the primary method of teaching. Teachers were assisted by their advanced level student. And next, modern system of education. The beginning of the modern system of Indian education can be traced to the effort of the Christian missionaries who arrived in India in the wake of European occupation. And as a result of their efforts, many institutions were established across India. These institutions imparted Western as well as Indian education. Francis Xavier was the first European from Portuguese who started modern system of education in India. That is, he started universities at Kochi and also started many primary schools and colleges in Goa in the year 1575, where they taught Christianity, logic, grammar, and music. Followed by the Francis Xavier from Portugal, the French opened their institution for all Indians where education was taught by Indian teachers through their local languages, and they started higher secondary schools where French language was taught. Followed by the Portuguese, French, the German also started. The bishops named Ziegenbalg and Puscham started schools and a training college for teachers in Travancore, that is in Kerala. And next, education in the British rule. History of education in British rule can be divided into 4 periods. The first period, that is from the early days of the British rule up to 1813. And second period, that is from 1813 to 1853. Third period, that is from 1854 to 1920. Fourth period, it is from 1921 to 1947. So these were the 4 periods. Now let's see the first period, that is from the early days of the British rule up to 1813. During early days, the East India Company followed a policy of indifference and non interference towards education, as this sector did not form a part of its program. The company's character was renewed in 1830, which compelled the company to assume responsibility for the education of Indians, though on a very limited scale. Besides missionaries, non missionaries like Raja Ram Mohan Roy of Bengal, Pachayappa of Madras, W. Fasser of Delhi contributed to the cause of education. And second period, that is from in the year 1813 to 1853. So this second period was also marked by great educational controversies concerning the issues of educational policy, medium of instruction, and method of spreading education. First, there were the Orientalists who supported the preservation of Oriental learning and the use of Sanskrit and Persian as the media of instruction. Third period, that is from 1854 to 1920. So this third period where the British influenced education may be called the period of All India Education Policy. It commenced with Sir Charles Hood Dispatch in 1854. The last period, that is from 1821 to 1947. The fourth phase may be called the period of provisional autonomy. The Act of 1935 assured a new era of educational advancement through the country. The new programs were hit hard by the worldwide economic depression in 1929. The introduction of complete provincial autonomy by the Government of India Act of 1935 further strengthened the position of provisional ministers of education. And after the Second World War, a very important plan for educational development known as the Sargent Report, that is 1944, was prepared. The blueprint had a powerful influence on contemporary education both in thought as well as in practice. Okay children, so that's all about the four periods. And next, National Policy on Education. The first National Education Policy of 1968 marked a significant step in the history of education in post-independent India. It aimed to promote national progress, a sense of common citizenship and culture, and to strengthen national integration. And in the year 1986, the Government of India introduced a new education policy. The aim of new education policy was to transfer a statistic society into a vibrant one with a commitment to development and change. And it emphasized on equal opportunity for marginalized section of the country and the removal of disparity through scholarship, adult education and open universities, especially for rural India. The new education policy called for a child-centered approach in primary education and launched Operation Blackboard to improve primary school national-wide. The new education policy was revised again in 1992. It envisaged the formulation of a national curriculum framework, emphasizes on in-service education, improvement of facilities, and streamlining of the evaluation system at the secondary stage. The Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is the Government of India's flagship program that was launched in the year 2000 and 2001 to achieve Universal Elementary Education, that is UEE. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is now the primary vehicle for implementing the provision of the Right to Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, that is RTE. Right to Education provides for free and compulsory education to all the children from the age of 6 to 14 years. I repeat, right to education provides for free and compulsory education to all the children from the age of 6 to 14 years. The SSA initiates a variety of innovations and activities related to schools, and some important activities including the midday meals, stipends for students, the setting up of school management committee, and provision of teaching learning material for classrooms. And next, RMSA, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, a centrally sponsored scheme for universalization of access and improvement of quality education at the secondary stage, which was implemented during 11th 5-year plan period. The goal of RMSA is to make secondary education qualitative, available, accessible, and affordable to all young students in the age group 15 to 16 years. Science lab, libraries, in-service training for teachers, computer-aided education, co-curricular activities, and teaching learning aids are provided by the Government of India through RMSA scheme at the school level. And the Union Budget 2018 to 2019 proposed to give school education holistically without segmentation from preschool to class 12th. And in the year 2017, a committee was constituted by the Ministry of Human Resources Development to draft the National Education Policy. And this committee submitted its report in the year 2019. Okay children, so that's all about this lesson. And now let's see the hard words. Children, I read the hard words, listen the pronunciation of the hard words carefully. First one, Gurukula, Gurukula. Taxilla, Taxilla. Nalanda, Vikramshila, Ziegenbalg. Shiksha, Rashtriya, Rashtriya. Abhiyan, Abhiyan. Illumination, Acharya. And so for your today's homework is that you have to write the national policy on education in your rough note for 2 times. Okay children, I hope you all understood the session. Thank you.